Okay, what I'm starting to see develop from this Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony situation is nothing short of devastating. In terms of the response that I'm seeing from the black community, they are now to the point where merch is being made. It's getting quite ridiculous, if you ask me. But first, let me show you this. Austin Metcalf was buried on Saturday. Meanwhile, these people are parading around like gangsters, misusing their donations for luxuries. Just for this, they hope Carmelo Anthony gets life in prison, and they also hope that Metcalf family sues for everything. So I'll go ahead and play the audio on this clip for you.
Going straight to the car, okay? Just look, just keep on going. Keep going straight. Okay?
All right.
All right?
Come on, man. Just follow back behind us.
In the next one.
Just stay close, okay?
Yes, sir.
Carmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say, Carmelo? Do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim, to the family of the victim? Why were you armed, sweetheart? Carmelo, why were you armed at school? Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
Excuse me.
Carmelo, is there anything you want to say to the community that's donated?
Not a word. Not one word. You would think that his team would at least have advised him to show some level of remorse, even if he didn't come from a defensive place. Instead, they prep him to avoid the media, but won't prep him to take any level of accountability. These are simple questions. Do you have anything to say to the people who contributed to the GoFundMe or something along the lines of that? Was the very last question that I heard. Does he have anything to say to the family? Why was he armed with a knife? All these different questions, simple questions. I get that he probably wouldn't want to answer those, right, for legal purposes, right? However, sending some sort of sentiment, some sort of regard out to the, I don't know. A guy in the lab writes, oh, they thought they were slick updating the description in the last 48 hours that the money would basically be used for a shopping spree. I would like to see the Texas Attorney General's office investigate for fraud. Ken Paxton is that Attorney General. Hugh says, I want each person to have a fair, honest investigation and trial if called for. That behavior after a crime is odd, but not part of the crime considered at trial. If he did kill, he must be found guilty of the appropriate charges and then serve time as the law requires. Joseph, the original post, the guy who posted it, says, sounds reasonable, but he is likely tainting his own jury pool with his behavior. This is a terrible look. I agree. And it gets worse. Carmelo Anthony presser starts off by attacking Austin Metcalf's dad. Quote, it's disrespectful of him coming here.
And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay? What he has failed into is the political operatives that want to make this thing a political thing of hate, yet bigotry, and yet racism. We have conservative operatives that have been posting nonstop about this case. And all.
Are you serious? We are the ones making this political? We are the ones making this about racism? The fact that the father showed out, I want to be honest. I don't know if he's saying that the father is there at this particular event or if he showed up at a prior event or any event like that in regards to Karmelo Anthony. But you find it disrespectful? He's the one that said he forgave Karmelo. You find it disrespectful for him to come to, I'm going to assume he's there. You find it disrespectful for him to come to the press release, so to speak, of what took place to his son? The gall, bro. Somebody wrote, let's not forget Karmelo Anthony was defending himself. BIPOC doing racism rights. I can't type what I want or I'd be in federal prison. It's just outrageous, man.
There are way too many people out there who look like me, who are rushing to defend Karmelo Anthony because he looks like them. But those same people, instead of being upset with Karmelo Anthony, are going to be upset with me for what I'm about to say. This was always what the radical BLM movement was going to eventually lead to. The most basic, reductive form of tribalism based on skin color alone. We can't even agree anymore on what is right and what is wrong. We've been reduced now to our most basic identifying characteristics. You know, the correct way to process this would be to demand justice for the victim and make sure that punishments are handed out that fits the crime. It doesn't even matter if the victim was allegedly racist. That's not a reason or excuse to take someone's life away. I mean, he shouldn't even have had a knife on school grounds anyway. That's a felony in the state of Texas, am I right? But y'all like felons. That's why y'all made a hero out of George Floyd. Never mind. But now you've got Karmelo Anthony's family moving into a almost $1 million house, getting new cars, you know, after they raised so much money with this legal defense fund, GoFundMe. And that's because people took up and donated for him because they saw no issue with what transpired. They saw no issue, apparently, with this loss of life. And it has to do all too often just because of the color of one person's skin. And it shouldn't be that way. And you know, now the family says they need extra security too. Really? After what Karmelo did, you need more security. Because it seems like you have all the security you need right there under your nose. But I digress. Now, basically, what they're going to say to me is they're going to say, oh, you are a sellout. You are acting white. You're going to say this and that because apparently speaking out against degenerate behavior now means that I'm acting white, means that I'm some sort of sellout. This is the mentality that needs to stop. They're going to say, you're not invited to the cookout. You're not allowed to the cookout. Like, oh, so your idea of who should come to a cookout is someone whose idea of conflict resolution is jumping up and slashing with a knife? I don't think so. I don't want to be at your cookout. That's all fine and good with me. But I'm so sick and tired of this mentality continuing. It's only going to stop when we have more people who are brave enough and bold enough to stand up and speak out for what is right, regardless of the blowback. And that's what I'm going to do. And so it doesn't matter if you call me a bum or a sellout. It doesn't matter. What matters is what is right and what is wrong. And this is wrong. And we should all be able to at least agree on that.
He's right. The fact that we can't agree on basic human decencies, morals, and values, right and wrong, this has gotten us to a place of division that's beyond left or right. This right here is inhumane, in my opinion. At the very least, you would agree that no child should have a weapon on him at school. Can we agree on that? Black, white, Asian, Mexican, Blue, green, orange, red. But hey, I want y'all to see what Officer Tatum adds to this in terms of the black community and how we are celebrating the actions of Karmelo Anthony and how this has also been aligned with previous actions taken on our part.
So they just launched a merch site to support Karmelo.
Ridiculous.
I'm giving you guys the most honest take on the internet. If this was my son and I thought he was done wrong and I thought he was innocent, yeah, of course I would do everything they doing. The problem is what it appeared to have happened is egregious. This is not a kid that's a good kid. Maybe he's a good kid that's at a track meet minding his business and a bunch of white boys jumping and he stabbed one of them. This is not that scenario. It appears to me, based on the totality of circumstances, that he was in the wrong. That boy took somebody's life. They ain't never gonna get their kid back ever because somebody else's kid took a knife to a track meet and decided that he was gonna sit under somebody's tent, and when asked to leave, he said, "No, I'm gonna kill you if you touch me." That's essentially what he said. Black people, the ones who are like this, not the ones who like me and they got a common sense. I'm talking about the ones who think this is okay. Do you realize that you are headed down a path of destruction that can never be recovered? I hope that black people understand this. When you are out here making a merch site, doing a GoFundMe for a kid that killed somebody, and won't do a merch site and a GoFundMe for a kid that was killed by somebody, you headed down the wrong mother freaking path. When you go to a Planned Parenthood more than anybody else, when your communities are failing and ratchet as a mother, when the education system in the inner city communities, primarily in black communities, are dismal, when y'all voting at 90% for one candidate and still lost in a landslide victory, historic landslide victory, when your murder rate amongst intraracial conflict is far beyond anybody else's, when the incarceration rate is where it's at, when the obesity rate, heart disease, diabetes, you name it, is running rampant amongst African Americans in this country, when you got all this going against you and you think this okay, if you don't change, you are going to be irrelevant.
I don't know if it'll ever stick, man. The fact that we have it embedded in our culture to celebrate killing and murdering and, praise those who are doing the oppression while also claiming to be oppressed. And it's just weird. It's a mindset that I really wish we really reevaluate with level-headed on a level-headed basis. But for whatever reasons, we listen to everything like this or conversations like this, and it's hard to have these conversations for certain people, so they get emotionally triggered, and that's when all the spewing start coming out, and the divide just gets even thicker. Somebody says, these are the same very sad times. I know racism has never nor will ever be eradicated fully. It's taught, but I know. I was raised in the South in the 80s and the 90s, and although our grandparents or elders may have brought it up, our youth were all just kids. We're all just kids. Yeah, we're all just kids. My bad. We didn't see color. We are going backwards. Racism is taught, and it is a trend now. And it is sad that taking this poor kid's life is being celebrated by racists. You can't call it anything other than that. I've been also hearing reports that the judge is anti-white. I couldn't confirm or deny that. I couldn't find any footage or anything like that. So that's just alleged. Now, Dominique Alexander is now placing blame on Fresco ISD for wanting to expel Carmelo Anthony, stating that the weather was bad on the day Carmelo Anthony murdered Austin Metcalf. Y'all, I mean, seriously, cool off a bit.
But Frisco ISD has notified of their intent to expel Carmelo Anthony from school 1 month before his high school graduation. That just shows me that Frisco ISD is trying to push off the blame. And what I have not heard the media say, as many media outlets have asked us what went on, I'm trying to find how many of y'all have asked the superintendent or one single board of trustee, why didn't you cancel or postpone? With weather in that magnitude, you couldn't have a track meet in rain or thunderstorm or clouds. Y'all are the media. Ask your journalists, your weather journalists, how the weather was that day and that time. Y'all do that research. Because as a person who is the administrator of your children, you are responsible for the safety of the children. And so it seems as if Frisco ISD is trying to push this off by making this decision that they do not have to make. So the Next Generation Action Network, outside of the legal process, will be going through different avenues regarding to ensure that we fight for the rights of Carmelo Anthony.
I think I got to start bringing back the chopped edits when I don't do all this pausing. That's what I used to chop all the edits for, because I have moments like this in the video where I'm like trying to gather myself. And I don't know. It has been said that Carmelo Anthony's GPA was 1.3. I don't know if that's true or not. That was from Just Jen. She's a friend of mine. But I haven't seen it from any other reliable source. Dre Baldwin says this guy's a defense lawyer. Hope not. He brought a knife to school and stabbed someone regardless of the legal outcome. This is expellable. I'm sorry. This is an expellable offense. This guy's making black guys in suits look bad. This is a joke, right? Hey, got you a shout out. What? What is this?
Sarah Fields. Never heard of this woman. This is the kind of despicable things that led to the father being here. Political operatives motivating this family with hate. Carmelo Anthony posted.
Let's just go and say the quiet part out loud.
This is all about who the jury is. This will all be determined by the jury. If the racial factors were reversed, if a white man had killed an unarmed black man, everybody would be on the reverse side of this. We live in a society where everything is judged by race. You know, the Bible says to judges and prosecutors, don't recognize people, just do abstract justice. We're way, way, way beyond that. If the racial elements were reversed there, virtually all the people who are calling for him to be acquitted would be calling for him to be convicted, and vice versa. Let's not kid ourselves. We live in a race-conscious society, and jury selection, which, of course, your other guest is so brilliant at and did so well in the Zimmerman case, is determine the outcome of this case, without a doubt. This is all about who the jury is. This will all be determined.
If the roles were reversed, it would be outrage for Austin Metcalf, towards Austin Metcalf. You have Al Sharpton, you have Black Lives Matter leaders out, you know, everybody will be out protesting against this right now, against the Metcalf family and calling for all type of violence towards them. I'm not saying that I agree with every piece of the context in which the situation got handled from Austin Metcalf, but I most definitely did not agree with the conclusion or the reaction, rather, that Karmelo Anthony decided to go with. But the guy that was just speaking, he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. His name is Alan Dershowitz with Alan D. Okay, I'm also seeing, let me show y'all this on the screen real quick. No surprise here. Judge Angela Tucker. She is a graduate of UT Austin and Delman School of Law. She's been licensed for 23 years and has spent her entire legal career in Collin County handling cases in the 3 areas of law heard by her court: criminal, family, and civil. Just I don't know. I'm missing something. Something might be going over my head. Flip the races. This would be a very different outcome for sure. Go check out somebody today. You could be saving their life. Thank y'all for everything.